Hey everybody, welcome to the Extra podcast. I'm Sean, joined here by my co-host Simi, Simple Simi.
Good
Um,
evening.
Look at him. That's a nice hoodie there, buddy.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. You can see the logo right there.
Yeah, always got the Inter stuff on, repping all Inter today. Um, Today we're hoping to have a little bit of a quicker podcast than last week. We're gonna be talking about the Champions League final, and the embarrassment that was. Hopefully not spending too much time on it because it still hurts a little bit. And then the rest of the news this week, mainly going to be looking at our manager, who's going to be our manager, and uh, who we've who Inter has told us has come into the club so far with this new Club World Cup transfer window. So yeah, if you Simi, if you want to take it away to tell the
Yeah.
people where they can find us.
Yeah. So as always, if you're not on Twitter or on X, as they like to call it, as much, follow us on there regardless. We're closing in on 65K now almost, I think. So getting there in terms of numbers, very much the growth has been incredible, obviously. Thanks to the Champions League run. Again, we'll get into that, but make sure to follow us on Twitter and also YouTube, obviously, where we're pumping out the podcasts in terms of like the visual aspect. You can see our faces on there, and obviously on all the other podcast platforms you can find us as well. But yeah, we have to talk about we have to address the elephant in the room, really, right? Champions League final. Listen, there's a look at the painful full-time tweet that I had to put out. That was probably the hardest match to have to cover, like that I'll ever have to cover. Probably, I'll just say it how it is. It's the worst defeat in Inter history. I know Nima said on. I saw a clip of Nima saying on the Italian football podcast that it was the worst Inter defeat in modern history. I say it's the worst Inter defeat in general. I don't recall, even in like 50, 60 years ago or whatever, a defeat that was this heavy, that was this like damaging to the brand of this club. I don't think there's ever been something like that. No derby loss, no like Scudetto bottled can, you know? Like this is the as bad as it gets, man. This is as bad as it gets.
Yeah, he even said it eclipsed the 2nd of May back in what was it, 2003?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, 100%.
uh, which I would agree. I mean, it was so bad. I don't know about you, but when the first goal went in, I was just hoping that it was offside. I just thought there's no way that Due was able to get that far behind the back line in our box, in our 18-yard box, and wasn't offside, but regardless, he was onside. And then after that, I couldn't even bring emotion to my face after that. I just was a dead man sitting there watching the game as it just unfolded before my eyes.
I mean, same. My only reaction was me kind of like giving props to Hakimi for not celebrating. I actually really, really, really appreciate that. The fact that he was obviously scored in front of our fans. The fact that he held his hands up and said, "Listen, guys, I love you. I'm not gonna.
Mhm.
It's a Champions League final. I'm not gonna go crazy because I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the season that I was there for." That was something that actually like, yeah. Now this is cool. But
That
the
actually, I won't lie, that pissed me off more. Not like, I wasn't angry at him, but just that he scored for them, and he was able to
yes,
do that for
yes.
them, right? I'm just, I miss Hakimi and watching him do that, and then yeah, it was very good. It was, I mean, the biggest game of your career, and you score the winner. I mean, I know they scored 5, but he does technically have the winner of that game, and to not celebrate it like he scored a goal in a Champions League final, you know? It's,
Yeah. Yeah, but that
yeah.
was my only reaction. Genuinely, I was like, okay, fair play, because it was only 1-0. I was like, okay, you never know where this game can go. But in terms of how the goal happened, I was like, these guys are not looked in today, and I was worried. I was not like, because I'm usually optimistic, right? We talked about this last episode. I'm more the optimistic type. I was not like this game is over, but I was like, these guys are not locked in today. I don't recall Inter's
Mhm.
backline being this open because that pass to do it can't happen like that. It can't happen like that. And obviously, I don't even want to go into detail. I don't know about you. I'm fine with not going into detail because we know, like after that first goal, like I was just sitting there, just like this, like literally just dead silent, not saying a word, like just staring at my screen, tweeting when I had to, and then that was it. Because like there was nothing to, not even like a ref this or like Taram go attack the ball, Lautaro go attack the. None of that, like what I usually do, like try and like scream at my monitor to hype the players up to go and like push extra. None of that. I was just sitting there like, what am I supposed to say? Like we were getting
Yeah.
outplayed, outclassed at every single level. Which I also want to mention, PSG were like deserved to win. It's not like we were just bad and they were okay. They were great. PSG were
Mhm.
incredible, but we were also terrible. And that combination, bro, it could have ended like 6-7-8-0, bro. I'll be real with
Mhm.
you. It's
Yeah,
a dark,
it
dark day.
was. I was talking to a PSG fan. I just told them, like, I'm frustrated with my team, and everything that I'm saying has nothing to do with you guys. Y'all played a perfect game. I mean, from a neutral perspective, it would have been beautiful to watch PSG in the way that they played. But for me, I was just furious. I couldn't just
Yeah,
nothing. Just I couldn't bring myself to do anything, especially after that second goal, because I was thinking, "All right, it doesn't look like we're gonna have to wait till the second half to wake up if we can just survive
that was my only
as
hope, really.
they've
Those
been."
first 5-10 minutes in that second half, we can squeeze in like a little set piece goal, like something. But even the set pieces were horror, horror. I remember that one Chalanoglu free kick from the right hand side. It went out of play. I was like, bro,
Yeah,
like not even the set pieces today. Like it's over. It's over.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and that, yeah, I we don't have to talk about it anymore. It was awful. I am if anyone follows me and has seen what I've said or has talked to me since then, they'll know that that was so bad that, like, 0 titles, 0 titoli
Yeah,
this season. It would have been the way that it happened right there at the end, and we were talking about it last week, the way that we dropped out of those competitions and didn't win these competitions was an embarrassing fashion in all of them, especially the Champions League final, and it's just huge change. Huge change is needed
one
after
hundred
all of
percent,
that.
100%. Yeah, I think that's the main takeaway from the final, really, to know that this team is not built for like, and this is a surprising thing to me. People were telling me that we're more ready, more experienced than 2 years ago against City. This was way worse than City. I know this City team isn't that PSG team, but that PSG team also needs to be challenged way more if we are apparently, right, better than 2 years ago. So to me, this screams that this team was clearly, and I said this at the start of the season. I remember like January, February, when I was saying when we were squeezing certain results and getting 3 points that we weren't supposed to get, like when we weren't really creating much. And there was a time where we didn't score, or Lautaro didn't score from open play in like months, or we didn't score from open play in like 3, 4, 5 games. And I was saying, if this keeps on, like the two Barca games, forget about those because those were exceptions. I don't know how we managed to get the energy for that. But apart from those two games, maybe the Bayern games, we did not create much at all this whole year. This whole year. And I saw it coming because I'm the first one to notice that kind of pattern. Like, okay, we don't have the creativity. The players are burnt out. We can't create real goal scoring opportunities from like fluid open play. A lot of the goals are set pieces. Cool, that's fine, but you can't rely on that. So a couple of months ago, I was saying like, no, this is not going to go well against those teams like PSG, where that you're just going to get like ran into the ground if they turn up. So I was not like surprised. I was just surprised in how brutal it was, really. And obviously, again, like you said as well, you said you had your say on Twitter. I wasn't even on Twitter. I took 48 hours off. I did not want to see football at all. And I listen. I watch tennis. You know what I'm saying? I went and took a little break from football because sometimes you just have to. You can't let football consume your emotions too much. Obviously, we all love it, but at some point there's a line that you can't really cross. But for me, I just had to take 48 hours off, and then I was like, okay, it's fine now. But yeah, so yeah. Listen,
Yeah,
unless you have
I don't
anything
even
else to share on the loss,
no, no, just yeah, the loss, it encapsulated the whole season, I
yeah,
think.
pretty
It
much.
just it was bad, but like you said, I don't even know if I'm gonna watch, the Italian national team play. I think they play either tomorrow or Friday. I think it's Friday.
Against
Like, I'm not gonna
Norway, I
watch.
think. Yeah, I'm not too sure.
Yeah. I know it's important for the Italian national team, but, I watch them for the Inter players. Yeah, I don't know if I can do it.
No,
I just need like, if I'm gonna watch the Club World Cup, I need a break from all things football, watching football, that emotion of
yeah.
watching the games of the teams that I like, so, yeah.
Don't watch until the 18th of June, the first game
Yeah.
against Monterrey, whoever we're playing. That's a good little that's a good decision for now, I think, to just keep your mind off of football for now. I was going to say we can do a little season recap, but as we were talking about the Club World Cup just now, I'm thinking we do that after the Club World Cup because theoretically the Club World Cup is still part of this season. So as long as
Yeah.
it's fine with you, I think we'll leave that for after the Club World Cup and we'll revisit the whole season in like the start of July probably because we
Yeah,
still have a
that's probably
title,
good.
quote unquote title to play for. So um yeah. But as you mentioned at the start of the episode, we now have we are not I was gonna say jobless. We are managerless. We have no manager.
Mhm.
Um I like this little summary that Thomas gave us. Simone Inzaghi with Inter, 217 matches, 141 wins, 41 draws, 45 losses, one Scudetto, which was the second star, two Coppa Italia, three Supercoppa Italiana, two Champions League finals, minus 114 million euros net spend. Black and blue heart, with a picture of Simone Inzaghi holding that trophy of the Secondo Stella. Um, yeah, what are your thoughts?
Mixed feelings.
Mixed,
I'll
yeah,
always thank him for the second star, um, but this, the news that we have gotten in the last couple of days has tarnished how I view him as, a professional and a manager at Inter. Not so much what he's done, but, I've also been critical of him his entire time here, and, this doesn't make it look any better, in my
yeah.
opinion.
You've been one of those that, doesn't just keep him on, like, you can't say anything about him. Some people that were saying, don't ever criticize Inzaghi because, this is a squad he's been given to work with and he's doing wonders anyway. I think that was wrong, when people were kind of like overprotecting him. But obviously, like you said now, this shows a lot. That to me, if I was losing a Champions League final like that after I just lost one 2 years ago already, I don't think I would like. Okay, yes, it's probably attractive to get however much he's going to earn in Saudi Arabia. Fair play to him. Like
Mhm.
I always say, get your bag. That's your decision.
Mhm.
For me personally, if I lost a second Champions League final, I don't just run away. I have
Yeah.
something to. I have a point to prove next season, and then the season after, and then the season after. Because after a loss like that, it's not just one season that you redeem yourself with. You redeem yourself with several seasons of winning things,
Mhm.
and you don't just run off to go and chase the bag. Okay, yes, but you don't just run off and hide from the fact that you've just lost a Champions League final in the most embarrassing way that any team has ever lost a Champions League final.
It's not like he was being given pennies either. Like,
Yeah,
Inter was paying him, good wages, and yeah, he is going to create, um, wealth for himself and his family that, he might not have to coach after this Al Hilal job, but
probably not here.
yeah, um, but yeah, I'm kind of running away, and I wonder what he's thinking. Um, I saw something that said that he just was burnt out from the pressure and how often, like, having to talk with the management about all these things, asking for things, living up to Inter's expectations, and sort of the it's like being at Inter. Just being at Inter kind of weighs you down. The shirt, like we talk about the players, whether they're capable of wearing the shirt, the pressure that
Yes,
comes with the
yeah.
shirt. Just the pressure at being at Inter. All of those things kind of weighed on him, and he felt like he needed to escape. So I get his reasons, um, but yeah, I do you really run away after that? And did all of those talks cause that embarrassing loss? Because that would piss me off even more, letting that affect the players and you, and just walking into that game like you didn't care, you know?
That's something that obviously at the end of the day he's not the one playing, right? So really and truly, can you really blame it? But maybe obviously then the preparation, maybe he's not in it with as much enthusiasm. You never really know how that goes, like how those things go in the dressing room. Like how
Mm,
much impact does that actually have if he has open talks with Al Hilal before the Champions League final, like a week before, 2 weeks before? Some Saudi media was saying, which obviously now we have to believe them. There was people telling me Saudi media was reporting this stuff 2 weeks before our Sky Sport was reporting it. How, like, if this really started 2 weeks before the Champions League final, which seems very credible now. First of all, why would you do that? And so, like, why would you not? If let's say Al Hilal approaches him and he's like, instead of saying yes to talks, why doesn't he just say, "Guys, I have a Champions League final coming up. We'll talk after." If they've really discussed these details, because you see how quickly he left after, that's not normal to me. At least, I don't know as much in terms of how quickly these things can happen. But you don't make a decision like that just in one meeting. He's probably went into that meeting with Beppe and Arcilio and said, guys, you can try and convince me with the highest offer maybe, but I have my mind set that I'm leaving. So
mm,
to me, and I'm saying if, but I think it's true that Al Hilal approached him 1 or 2 weeks before the final. It's embarrassing for him to even accept to start the talks in the first place before the most important game of his managerial career. That's my problem.
yeah.
It's the manner in which he left afterwards that's, we can talk about, like, that's embarrassing anyway. But the fact that
Mm.
you basically said, okay, this Champions League final is not irrelevant. That's not what I'm saying. But he's basically making it look very, like, it's a very bad look for him to start opening talks right before that final. I don't think that's right, personally.
Yeah, I don't like it. I didn't like it at all. And he's gonna have to live with that.
Yeah.
And I think other clubs are gonna see that, when he thinks or wants to come back to Europe to coach. Who knows how long he's gonna be there? Maybe he enjoys less pressure, and um, they give him the entire Saudi Arabian budget to go get him a team to go win the Asian Champions League,
Cool.
whatever he wants. Yeah, so,
That's a title.
um,
Won't be Zero Titoli next
yeah.
season, I guess.
No, no, but
Yeah.
that'd be great, and maybe, but I would imagine that he wants to come back at some point, and people are going to remember that, how you left. So,
Yeah, 100%. But, well, the problem now is, like I said, we are managerless. And speaking of that, there has been one name that has been thrown out there quite heavily, and that name is Cesc Fabregas. Um, doesn't really surprise me with the way that Como and Fabregas and Zanetti and Nico Paz and everyone's been kind of flirting with each other these past few months. Doesn't really surprise me. However, apparently Ozilio is in London. I don't know why Fabregas is in London, but they're all in London apparently. And there is a meeting, right? The meeting ended up taking place tonight and ended a few minutes ago. Updates are expected this evening. These updates are the following. After initial talks tonight, Cesc Fabregas and Inter will discuss again on Thursday in order to make a final decision. Como, which is tomorrow, right? At the time of
yeah.
recording, Como insists on its position, not giving green light on the move at current stage. Is up to the Spanish manager now. Because some context to this, if you guys didn't see this, the president of Como initially said he's staying, he's part of the project. And then I think there was some press conference. I don't know if you saw it, but there was a press conference where Fabregas basically said, like, like, no, I'm staying, I'm part of the project. But I think he kind of had to say that on
Yeah.
a
Is
on
it
a.
wasn't that was it Republica or did they translate the
I
interview
didn't
wherever it
actually
was?
check what source it was or what interview or press conference. Or it was something where they were sat next to each other, I think, and then kind of were
Yeah.
asked about the rumors. And now Di Marzio says no green light arrived from Como, but Inter met Cesc Fabregas anyway, right? Like,
Mhm.
just because we can, right? The deal remains
Mhm.
complicated. Only Fabregas can change things by pushing for Inter. And then apparently, this is same thing still. 2 minutes later, Di Marzio said Como still has no intention of letting Fabregas leave, which tells me, right? And I want to stay on this tweet right here. Fabregas can push to leave if he wants to. This is basically how I perceive it. He can push to leave if he wants to, but Como aren't gonna let him go like easily, kind of thing. But in
Yeah.
general, let's forget these rumors. Obviously, apparently, we'll know what happens tomorrow, right? You always have to be a bit careful with these like meetings and stuff where they talk about what is actually being said in those meetings or dinners or whatever is going on. But if we find out tomorrow, obviously we'll have a clearer idea of if he's actually coming or not. But what do you make of Fabregas as a manager, and do you think that this is actually going to go through?
I'm gonna answer the do I think it goes through first. I do want to before I kind of answer it, I want to provide some warning to everybody listening. When these club directors, management, presidents, coaches, when they say things, I just want to let you all know that sometimes they have to say certain things. Like when these people are saying things, it doesn't mean that they're lying, first of all, but it also doesn't mean that is the definitive truth.
Yeah,
You know, Cuomo's president is not going to come out and say, "Yeah, Inter's come in and he wants them, so we would like to keep him, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen."
yeah, like
You
we'll
can't
see, kind of thing.
concede
Yeah,
that ground.
yeah,
Yeah, you don't. Especially when you've got the contract with him. When I do think that Fabregas is happy at Como. You know, they do have all of the leverage and they do have the control, and so yeah, say what you need to. They have every right to do that, and Fabregas doesn't want to. You have to present yourself as a manager, just like we were saying about Inzaghi and the way that he was presenting himself near the end of his tenure here at Inter. Fabregas is not going to burn bridges. You don't want to have that as part of your as a new manager. Conte and Mourinho have those kind of reputations of they burn bridges at the end. Um, but you also know that you're going to have titles that come along with them, right? So
yeah,
they won things before doing such things. So, uh, just a warning for everybody when it comes to these rumors and what's happening. What I like to look at is the days. When is the news going to be finalized? All right, so tomorrow at the time of recording. So by the time people are listening to this, maybe it's the same day or maybe it's yesterday, whatever. But um, when that's when you're going to get the news. And so I'm just kind of waiting for that. What direction does it sound? Which team is favored more? Are they talking about Inter more with Fabregas, or are they talking about Como more? They talking about the project that he's gonna have more at Como compared to the project that he has at Inter,
yeah.
Some of those. I don't listen to so much because even today we've gotten conflicting reports of Como says no, so there's gonna be a no.
Yeah.
And then Fabregas says yes to Inter, so he's gonna push for it. But Fabregas can say yes, Como can say no, and then he stays at Como anyway. Or he says yes, and then it takes a couple of days for him to convince them, like,
It's pretty
"You've
much
been
all day.
great."
It's been the same like
Y
back and forth.
right?
You don't really
Yeah.
know who's got the control here. Yeah,
Yeah, so just patience with it.
yeah,
I don't know if he's coming. From what I can see, and my hope is that he does come.
yeah,
I think he does. He's been flirting with Inter since early April.
He
He's been
has
talking
been.
about how he's talked to Inzaghi, about
Inzaghi,
how
he
much he
looks up to
loves what
him.
Inzaghi.
Yes, yes,
Mhm.
we know.
That he loves the players at Inter. Um, Speaking of, just back off topic just a little bit. Luis Enrique, the manager at PSG, giving our players props for staying and watching them lift the trophy before going to um, back to the dressing room,
Yeah,
and giving our players their flowers for being losing in style, which I actually appreciate from our players, even
yeah.
though some have been silent since the loss, and we've gotten a couple that have actually apologized. And yeah, anyway, so back to Fabregas. Yeah, he loves our team, and I think he likes Inter. Think he likes the way y- the way that we move and the way that we present ourselves right now. So I see it. I see him pushing a little bit, but he's not going to burn bridges. So in the end, if Como really puts their foot down and says you're staying here, he's going to be
Which I think
happy.
they can because they obviously have the money.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past him to actually say, I'm going to Inter. I just want to quickly. This is breaking news coming fresh into the, the Inter Extra Twitter. So it's official. Simone Inzaghi joins Al Hilal, and we have a little announcement video. That you guys can
From
go
the
and
club.
watch it. Yeah, it's pretty much him drinking coffee, and he's saying, "Today begins my story of Al Hilal." Guys, just so you know, for YouTube, Sean can't see what I can see, but it's basically just the announcement from Al Hilal. We knew that
Interesting.
anyway, but there we go, it's official. And then we have
Yeah.
two more updates from Fabregas. Alfredo Pedula says Pierre Arcilio met with Cesc Fabregas tonight in London. Fabregas asked for a 3-year deal with option for a fourth year. The parties had some differences in opinions on the market, which is interesting, right? Maybe that's also to do with the signings that Inter's already made. And then the second thing is, Cesc Fabregas and Pierre Arcilio have set a deadline of tomorrow to reach a deal or not, which is kind of the same thing again, but it's obviously Pedula reporting it. Fabregas wants to be very involved in the market and have an important window. Now, I don't know if
Perfect.
this is the problem in regarding Oak Tree not being
Perfect.
there, but if
Mhm.
Oak Tree aren't there, then maybe that might be a little bit of a problem because I think Fabregas would have to speak to Oak Tree about that. Ozilio can only say, yeah, we have this and that available, and then maybe that's a bit of a problem. But this is the latest news, literally just now. I can refresh the page now. I can go back to Inter Extra, but no, this is literally 5 minutes ago. What we just have fresh in terms of the news, and then we'll have to wait until tomorrow. That's all. That's all we can say. On Fabregas, I just want to say quickly, I agree with what you said. I feel like he would be happy to join. I don't feel like he's gonna go crazy to join Inter, but I feel like if he gets a good deal, he'll be convinced. In terms of other
That
options, sorry, go on.
those tweets that Thomas just put out are important. That the mercato that he wants is going to be what convinces him, I think.
Yes, yes.
And Piero Ausilio better call Oak Tree, better call Catherine tonight, and talk to her about what he wants. I think
Pick
that
up
we
the
can
phone,
do what
Catherine.
he wants. Mhm. I think he I think we can do what he wants. But the question is, will Auxilio and Morota move quickly enough in the market to sell so that we can bring in the pieces that he needs?
Yeah.
Um, which is good. And yeah, I'm looking at that announcement video. It's kind of funny. That reminds me of what was it? Who was it? Oh, it was Tejan Buchanan with the pancakes and the and syrup.
That's a little,
Um,
yeah, the stereotypical food or drink or whatever else you wanna,
mm,
I guess, cuisine that they put for Tajin as well, man. Poor guy, bro. Anyway,
yeah.
let's look at the other options that have been reported. In terms of who might be manager if we don't get Cesc Fabregas. If Cesc Fabregas turns down Inter, the alternatives are Christian Kivu or Patrick Vieira. Christian Kivu, one sentence maybe if you wanna give your opinion on what you think of him.
Yeah, so for Kivu, I think he's actually a last option. Not that he's the worst option, but he's the last option because he's already worked at Inter as a Primavera coach. He's a part of the treble team. He's an Inter legend in my opinion, and when that phone rings, he's gonna pick up, and I think he's going to accept it. So, I don't think that they would have to, worry too much about whether Kivu would accept that or not.
Oh
So, at
yeah,
the
yeah,
moment, I think that he's kind of last option, although I think he should be put above Vieira,
yeah.
in my opinion.
I agree. Or
So,
just simply
but
for the fact,
he's Inter through and through, Kivu. Inter through and through.
exactly for that fact, right? Because he's a treble winning legend. Obviously, Vieira was with Inter as well, but not on a
Mm,
managerial level. Kivu managed the Primavera squad before. He knows some of the players. It makes a lot more sense. And
mhm.
yeah, I agree. I think obviously if Inter do call, I don't think he would turn it down, but I also don't think it's going to happen because, like I said, I'm very confident that Fabregas is going to be the guy. And also, we need to remember that he's not, as experienced in terms of like first team experience. Fabregas has had, I think, a season or two more. And then obviously we
So, yeah,
have,
Fabregas yeah, sorry, it's just I think he's had 2 seasons managing, but,
yeah,
of course, only 1 in the top flight. Kivu's had 3 months of a senior team
pretty much, yes.
management. Yeah,
Pretty much,
so
yeah, half a season, yeah. And then the
mm.
other option is Patrick Vieira, who is obviously currently the manager of Genoa. And they have come out with a statement that says nobody has contacted us for Patrick Vieira. He will stay at Genoa. There was certain rumors that Inter has made contact with Patrick Vieira, but apparently, obviously, you know, that's not true. And obviously, Genoa
Yeah.
won't say yes, Inter interested, and we will talk. That's not what they're gonna say. So I don't know how true that is. Maybe they did contact him, but maybe not directly Genoa. So we don't really know. But that's the status quo right now. Obviously, Vieira for
Yeah,
me
he's also,
personally. Yeah, go on.
I think he's turning his career around right now, but he has not done well before. Also, what it sounds like is maybe his agent was contacted
Yeah,
and not Genoa or him, you know?
happens a
Those
lot.
are all
Yeah, that's normal.
possibilities.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah. I think again, I would prefer Kibo over Vieira. Again, he's not a bad manager, Vieira, but it's not like he convinces me to the point where I'm like, yeah, we need this guy. Again, it's good that he played for Inter before, but I think that's literally one of the few things right now that speak for him over like a Fabregas, for example. And then
yeah.
to wrap up the news for this week, we have a new signing, right? It's been confirmed. There's been the media stuff and everything that we saw on social media. Petar Sucic has joined Inter on a permanent basis from Dinamo Zagreb. Now, we knew this for months, obviously, but here he is in all his glory. And
He looks good.
official, he looks good. Like, you know what I'm saying? In terms of, you know, what we saw so far, what we've heard, the goals we've seen, the highlights we've seen. It's a good transfer. I think it's the route that Oak Tree want to go down. And again, we knew he was coming, we knew he was arriving, but to see it being wrapped up before the Club World Cup as well is good. So yeah, man.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's gonna be an important addition. I think, this is the way of improving your team, but also not breaking the bank. So, I like it, and what I've seen from him is good, and being able to get him in this early to get 3 months or so, 2.5 months before the next season starts, I think it's good. As long as we get a manager as soon as possible,
So
and
it
he can
wouldn't be
start.
bad, yeah, to make sure that he must have walked into the office and seen the empty chair of the manager, be like, wait, did I actually, like this is not how I expected to arrive, but it's a bit unfortunate for him, but no, he should be fine once we have a manager for sure. Yeah, man, I'm
Yeah,
I'm very excited to see him live in action. You see him live at the World Cup, Club World Cup. He should get plenty of minutes. So, yeah, looking forward to that. I think
should be good.
regardless of let me just check one last time if there's anything new. No, there's nothing new. 12 minutes ago, last tweet. That should be it for today. If you want to go let the reminder people to what to do before the end of the podcast.
Yeah, guys, go and like our video here. like the Inter post or the Inter Extra tweet. Um, Retweet it, share the YouTube video with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe. Um, yeah, make sure that you can get us to all your friends and anybody that wants to learn more about Inter and about the news that's coming out for us. So thanks for joining us, and always, always, Forza Inter Sempre.
Forza Inter.